Hi, I'm Andy with Nioxus Corporation. In this class, we're going to continue our discussion of our CRM module by looking at the task and to-do options. I'm going to go ahead and go into the function menu and enter our CRM module and create a new CRM record. Now, we've discussed activities where we had starting and ending dates, beginning and ending times. Now I want to look at the task and to-do group of entries. So I'm going to select task and to-do, and some changes happen on our screen. First of all, what used to be the end date is now the due date, and the beginning and ending times have been replaced with our task selection field. We'll see that the activities within a particular task appear here in this listing, and we have a new overall status for this particular entry in our CRM ledger. Previously, we just had a complete button that was either on or off. Now we can gauge stages of completeness: open, in process, completed, on hold, or canceled. And we'll see more in a moment how this current status automatically updates. We see that for the task and to-do option. I'm going to go ahead and select a task. In this case, we've set up a month-end general ledger close. So we'll select that, and we immediately see that the 5 steps, the 5 individual action items that have to take place, automatically fill in once we select our task. We'll see in a moment how to set up these 5 line items, and we also could add additional line items to a particular task if we want to by creating additional records here in the to-do action items list. Each of these line items is color-coded. Purple with the red dot is open, blue is work in process, green is completed, amber is on hold, and red is canceled. Let's go ahead and see how these change as we update the status of the individual action items. Here we have reconciling the bank accounts. Let's say we've completed that, we've completed the accrual steps, and we're in the process of calculating our depreciation and amortization, which is step 4 in this particular task. We can now see how this color coding impacts the display here on the CRM task record entry. The purple item at the bottom is still open. The blue item is a work in process. The 3 items, steps 1, 2, and 3, have been completed. The icons and the colors here correspond to the icons and the colors in our status bar. You will also note that the current status for the entire task is open because there is still an item that's open in the action item list. If this item, the bottom step 5 item, were in process, that would mean the entire workflow is in process. Once every action item has been completed, then automatically the task will be completed, and that will reflect both here and up top where we've seen that before. Finally, if there are any action items on hold, that means the entire task is on hold. However, canceling a single item, maybe there is no depreciation this month, canceling an individual action item does not necessarily mean the entire task is canceled. The canceled option is not directly connected to the status options of each individual action item displayed here. Now, you'll note that when we selected the task to-do action items automatically appeared. Let's see how we made that happen. I'm going to exit this screen. I'm going to go back to my office menu, and I'm going to click on To Do. And here we have the options to create a new task, assign a task, or see our list. If we click List, this brings us to this listing here of all tasks currently in the CRM ledger, and we can look at those tasks according to these date view options. But it also shows us all of the task templates that have been created. Here we see that month-end template. If I want to create a new template, I simply click the Add New button and select New Task. Here I can create a new task, give it a name. optionally a category and a classification. I can color code it and even tag it with a particular icon. Most importantly, I can add an overall description of this workflow, this task, this series of activities. It's also important to note that by default, new tasks are active. Only active tasks can be assigned through the CRM module. If a task is not active, it cannot be assigned. The next step is to define the actual action items. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll create, first, we'll call this action item 1, and then 2, and finally 3. Now it's important to note that you want to set the sequence. You may not necessarily enter the task line items in the sequence order that they're to be executed in. You may enter the first and second step, then the third step, then the fifth step, and then you go back and fill in the fourth step. By using this numeric sequence code, you can manually control the order in which the actions are executed. Here I've set up 1, 2, and 3. Let's say that there's a new step that I want to add between 2 and 3. I'll go in and I'll call that my new step 3. We see that here, and I'll take my old step 3 and simply rename it and retitle it step 4. So these numeric sequences allow us, the end user, to control not only what happens, but the order in which it is to be executed. Once we have defined this new task, we can then assign the task. Now, a moment ago, you saw me assign a task by going into the CRM module here on our function menu. If I'm here at the office menu and I click the to-do, I can shortcut that by simply clicking assign task. That will open up a new CRM activity. I select task out of the group option, and there's my new task, and there's all of the steps created for that particular task. Finally, if you need to delete a task, you can go in and delete it, assuming it's never been assigned. If a task has been assigned in the past, you cannot delete it. You can deactivate it. If a task has never been assigned, you still have the option to delete that task. And even if a task has been assigned, you can always edit these action items, these line items, for new assignments going forward. So if we have a task assigned that looks like this, and we have assigned it in the past assignments will have these 5 steps. If we were to add a 6th and a 7th step, future assignments would include all 7 steps. Past assignments that have been completed would not be modified. And that is how we can create tasks and automate the entry and definition of those tasks either through our CRM module or directly from within the task module here on the Office menu. Now in our next video, we're going to look at how we can set tasks to happen over and over again. Here I'll select a task. I will define the task and assign the task, and using this icon, I can set this recurring sequence so this same task is scheduled to happen and be executed on a scheduled recurring basis. That's what we're going to look at in our next video. I'll see you there.